All right, let's take you back to the stories around Eskom now. The African Transformation Movement wants Andre de Ruyter to appear before Parliament. This relates to the former Eskom CEO's controversial interview on eNCA and sister channel ETV. De Ruyter made damning allegations regarding corruption at the power utility. Now the ATM says he must spill the beans before Parliament. For more on this, we're joined now by party leader Vuyo Zungula. Mr. Zungula, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. De Ruyter, of course, in the 3 years that he has been at the helm at Eskom, has appeared before Parliament's portfolio committees. First, the leading one, of course, which is the Public Enterprises one, and the secondary one, which is Mineral Resources. Both these departments say he failed to mention what he mentioned to us last week. So what do you think the difference will be this time?
That is exactly why he needs to come to Parliament, because all this time we've been having a series of meetings with him. We've never received any information to that extent that, as per that interview, he's never been forthcoming regarding such challenges. But he felt it necessary to be open and transparent to the media interview, of which a media interview does not, have any tangible actions that will come out of it. Whereas if he reports or is transparent to a portfolio committee in Parliament, a portfolio committee, as mandated by the Constitution, has got all of the, the resources and the capabilities to actually work around making sure that all of his utterances are tested, and secondly, necessary actions are taken on the alleged perpetrators. So that is why, in our view, it's important that he must come to the entity, come to the institution that is mandated to act on his utterances.
Do you think maybe the fact that he opted to speak to the media and, make these allegations in public instead of coming to Parliament or law enforcement is an indictment on the lack of trust he has in Parliament and law enforcement?
Well, in that media interview, he did state that there is a cabinet minister, senior government officials, the very same government officials and cabinet ministers that belong to the ANC, the very same ANC that has a majority in Parliament. So from that perspective, someone can give him a break. However, it does not take away the responsibility he had as an accounting officer of Eskom to come to the institution where he is formally legislated to account to and be transparent, because the way it appears now, it appears as if there's something sinister to what he was saying, because how is it that he does not utilize the mechanisms of speaking to Parliament, but he will openly speak to a media house? So in light of what we have stated about the trust matter, we want to set it on record that also Parliament meetings are open to the public. eNCA has gone to Parliament to record those meetings. Therefore, nothing would have changed basically in terms of transparency and letting the public know about what is happening in Eskom.
Now, a lot of people would ask, of course, what Parliament rather can do to get Mr. de Ruyter to come forward. Of course, Parliament still has the power to have him come to the House to answer some of the questions. Are you going to do anything in terms of maybe just trying to push the two departments that are responsible for Eskom to make sure that he accounts in Parliament and just explain further, maybe even with evidence, all the allegations he's made?
Look, the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources, we got an update on Friday that the chairperson has been in contact with the chairperson of Public Enterprises to set up such meeting or to consider that letter that came from us as the ATM. So that is progress from that side. But what we are also going to do is to keep on pushing, because, Maseko, it can't be that a person who was an accounting authority of a very important utility that is providing energy and that is currently failing to provide energy makes such damning allegations about senior cabinet ministers who blatantly turned a blind eye on corruption and turned a blind eye on the root causes of the load shedding that we are seeing today, and the institution that is supposed to oversee the actions and the conduct of the executive does nothing. Therefore, Parliament must do what it is constitutionally required to do, which is to scrutinize the actions of the executive, scrutinize the evidence, and make sure that there is tangible actions. Because our biggest concern as the ATM is that Eskom, there's going to be a new CEO that will be appointed. But if the root causes that Mr. de Ruyter spoke about are still there, then it means that new CEO will suffer the same consequences, will be also be in a difficult position to turn around the entity, because you've got these ministers that have their interest, their own personal private interest in terms of milking Eskom, and therefore whoever that will become a CEO will basically is being set up to fail. So that is why from our side it's important that we have Parliament do its work and get rid of these corrupt elements that are destroying Eskom.
And Mr. Zungula, I'm guessing from what you've just said now that you fear that there is some truth to what de Ruyter told my colleague eNCA last week in terms of all the corruption that's happening there. But in terms of, for instance, the fact that he cites in his affidavit, that long affidavit that he filed in the Constitutional Court responding to opposition parties who want to know what's happening with regards to load shedding, he mentions the current interim CEO as one of the people that he got evidence from. So, this then speaks to what you're saying about the fact that maybe this interim CEO will also meet the same fate?
Definitely, because if the political powers that be, meaning the ministers, even the president, you might have interest as well. If those political powers that be, they do not have the interest of providing or creating or turning around Eskom in order to have a proper functioning state utility, then whoever that is going to be an accounting officer is being set up to fail. So Parliament must come in, must intervene to make sure that if there's a minister, because in my view, there is no way a person that turns a blind eye, makes a statement to say we must allow people to eat a bit. It was evident that the corruption is going to be exposed. That person still remains to be minister. That person must stay away from public office, because clearly under that person, corruption will always be entertained.
This is quite concerning for many South Africans, besides the fact that we've been grey-listed, how this looks to the international world. ATM leader Vuyo Zungula speaking to us there. Thank you for your time.